ahead and we should be good to go now. Apologies for that delay. Welcome to CultureGrams for elementary educators. This is a 30-minute session designed to show how CultureGrams goes beyond mere facts and figures to deliver a one-of-a-kind perspective on daily life and culture, including background, customs, and lifestyle of the world's people. At the end of the session, you should be able to describe how CultureGrams is used to support global awareness, to demonstrate the use of the features and tools, and to analyze country data using tables, graphs, and infographics. You should also be able to locate and use age-appropriate teaching activities. CultureGrams provides a framework to understand the world's people and the set of customs, traditions, and beliefs that define a culture. And it's really designed to educate students about the world around them. So each CultureGram, each country report, in other words, is written by residents of that country or an expatriate within the last 4 years to ensure a true cultural perspective. There are 4 editions of CultureGrams, and you have access to each of these. There is the World Edition, the Kids Edition, the States Edition, and the Provinces Edition. So you can select any one of those 4 for your reading level as appropriate and assignments. We'll be focusing on Kids Edition today. The Kids Edition has more than 185 country reports, which teach upper elementary age and middle school users about the world. So the reports have 20 categories and include multimedia content and tools for working with data. So this has up-to-date cultural information. It includes images. It includes a historical timeline. You'll see fun facts. You'll see sections on history, population, interviews on life as a kid. And Kids Edition is written at an elementary reading level. So that is Lexile 520 to 1185. And you'll also see within Kids Edition, and some of these you'll see in the other editions as well, but you'll have photos and slideshows. You'll have videos, you'll have interviews. There'll be lists of famous people coming from these regions, as well as recipes, downloadable flags, and also graphs and tables that you can customize, or the student can customize as needed. States Edition has easy to read state reports, and those also are designed for upper elementary age students to help understand the diversity and the history of each U.S. state and the District of Columbia. And this particular edition includes maps and flags, it includes symbols, it also has timelines, and it also has sections on history, economy, the economy of the state, geography, population, and more. And then here on your screen, you're seeing the flag of South Carolina, and then you're also seeing some of these categories. And that's also written at an elementary reading level. Then there's the Provinces Edition. Much like the States Edition, only it's focused on all of the provinces of Canada. So again, you'll see maps and the provincial motto. You'll see the distance calculator and time, as you will in the States Edition. And here we're showing the actual map. And this is one way to navigate within CultureGrams. And I will go live in just a few minutes to show you what it looks like live. So the States Edition, Kids Edition, and World Edition also have this sort of map for those regions where a student can click right on a particular area or geographic region to search. And there will also be an option to do that by text in alphabetical order as well. So with that, let's talk a little bit about some of the features and tools in CultureGrams. The infographics are based on statistical averages and other measures. And these, for the countries, highlight factors like income level, family size, language, religion, and what they are really kind of concise snapshots about the region compared to, or the country compared to other other countries, and they also translate nicely onto mobile devices. There is access to pre-formatted graphs for country information. You'll also see tables for extremes, so the highest and the lowest on certain categories. As I mentioned earlier, there is the ability to build your own comparison graphs and tables by selecting the specific nations or regions of interest and then different categories that you'd like to compare. Like, so for example, maybe the capitals, maybe area or population, economic features, communication, health, development, those kind of categories. These graphs and tables can be ideal for compare and contrast assignments. They can be used to develop critical thinking skills for students, as well as confidence in manipulating, creating, and interpreting data. Slideshows and videos and photos are incorporated to enhance visual literacy. So the videos tend to be very short, say 2 to 5 minutes in length, and these support learning and media literacy. They may depict popular tourist destinations, they may show attractions, landmarks, they may cover celebrations within a particular country, as well as different religious observances. The slideshows help provide deeper understanding of ceremonies and religion and regional and cultural practices. And again, we will jump in and take a look at some of these live within the Kids Edition. And then there's the photos from all over the world, which allow researchers to basically cover the world. There's a world of information there. It gives views of rural areas, of cities, of food, of fashion, employment, and different cultural activities in a very visual way. Performance standard correlations and activities are also a key component of CultureGrams. And at any point when you're in CultureGrams, you can use the link at the footer of the page, and it's got the red box around it on your screen, and that will give you access to the complete list of curriculum standards that can be met or developed by using CultureGrams. And that includes, there's a fair number of them. It includes AASL, it includes Common Core Anchor standards for reading, and more. And I also want to call out the teaching activities within CultureGrams. And those can be used by either librarians or by teachers to guide students. They can also be used by parents at home to guide students. So the teaching activities are also down at the bottom in the footer. Again, there's a little red box down at the bottom of your screen to activate to show where you will find those. And what that does is it opens a guide, a complete guide with 79 different activities. Those are split out between K through 5, 6 through 8, and 9 through 12 grades. If you happen to be in Kids Edition or World Edition, a link will open for activities for Kids Edition. It's going to be grades K through 5, and for World Edition, it's going to be grades 6 through 12. These include several different activity types that you can use or adapt. And those types of activities include creative projects, they include presentation, discussion, problem solving, research, as well as writing projects or activities. And also you will find those not only at the bottom in the footer, but you'll also see when you're in a country report or a state report actually. Uh, Over to the right of the screen, and again, we'll take a look, but you'll see a list of tools and then the teaching resources down at the bottom. So you can access the teaching activities and the curriculum standards over to the right when you're in a country report as well as those graphs and tables and tools like world time, distance calculators, and currency converters if you're interested in that. So this is an example of two kids editions lessons found in those educators resources. One on the left is it's a kid's life. It's a writing and discussion activity. And then over to the right is a country bingo, which is involves research and a game. So for each of these, you're going to see the grade level. For here, it's K through 5. You will see curriculum standards. You will see an objective up there at the top. So for the country bingo, the objective is that the students will identify specific characteristics of a country and then use them in a bingo game to generate interactivity and interest. The one on the right, also scrolling down, you will see the time requirement, so an estimated time limit on how long it will take to prepare, as well as how much in class time it might take, and then some suggestions for materials. So in this case, this is geared toward Kids Edition, and also a suggested resource within Kids Edition is to use those interviews to mine information that can be used for the bingo game. So another example of using CultureGrams to help students might be something that's used for problem solving. Again, K through 5 on this one. And this one might be where each student is a chef and they pick a country. And they learn about not only the country and the recipes or the dishes or the foods that might be eaten, but it also can gain math skills or problem solving skills by maybe multiplying or dividing um, the ingredients to feed more people or fewer people or whatever. So an example that might be used for grades 6 to 8. And again, these are available for your use, but hopefully it'll also spark your own ideas on how this might be used beyond just learning specifically about the country, but going a little bit beyond that and applying that knowledge. But for grades 6 through 8, so maybe a presentation on um, a presentation on a music group that's going on a world tour, and where are they going and what do they need to know, how do they need to adapt to the cultural differences during their world tour. And this could be not only a presentation, but it could be an option to write a report. It could be creating a poster of what to do, what not to do, how to be sensitive during this world tour and visiting other countries. So let me jump in and we'll take a look at what CultureGrams looks like in action. Let me drag my screen over here. So you should now be seeing the landing page for CultureGrams. You'll see the 4 editions, the World Edition, the Kids Edition, the States Edition, and the Provinces Edition. You'll see the footer down here. We're going to go right into the Kids Edition and explore a little bit. So here we see our map. We also see alphabetical list of different regions, and if you drill down, you'll see the alphabetical list of different countries. But you can always use the map as well to explore different countries and different regions. So for today, I'm going to go to Europe today, and I'm going to go into Italy. So this is an example of what a Kids Edition country report looks like. Over to the left, you're going to see the various aspects. So people and the place. So the land and the climate, the language, the history, um, the lifestyle, games and sports, holidays, life as a kid. And then other aspects of society, as well as some cultural facts. You do have access to the World Edition as well as the Kids Edition, and you can actually go back and forth between those two over here on the right. So I'm going to jump and do that real quickly right now so you can kind of see the difference. So this is the World Edition version of the Italy report. So it looks a little bit different. We have some slight differences in the different uh, aspects over here on the left. Learning more about, the gestures, visiting, dating and marriage, which is for a little older level, life cycle, that type of thing. We're seeing transportation and communications, more about education and health. And then in the middle, you'll see the country report basically too. A lot of the same elements as in the kids report, but also some of this country data, which is a little more specific for, maybe grade 6 to 8 and above. So with that, let me go back to the kids edition and let's look at this in a little more detail. So we have the basic country report in the center with some did you know facts of interest. You'll see that downloadable flag. You'll have access to maps, that infogram. Let me just pop in here so you can see that a little bit in more detail, which with the averages on how that compares to other countries in the world, such as family size, years of school, age, that type of thing. And then we've got some quick facts like the capital, you can hear the country name, you can hear the country anthem, and then over on the right are where you'll see more in-depth information on the country and some of those multimedia aspects. So you'll have your tools to work with Google Drive and Google Classroom. Um, you have those teaching activities where you can access that manual with different activities and the curriculum standards over here on the right with the tools, and also options for getting this report, either emailing or viewing or printing. And then you'll also have those multimedia aspects that I mentioned. So photo gallery, video, slideshows, interviews, famous people, and here recipes for Italy. And these are specifically for Italy. So if I go into, so let's look at the photo gallery. And we're going to see the photo gallery for Italy. Um, so kind of looking down here, we're seeing the different buildings, etc. You also have access to the time, the world time, the distance calculators, and the currency converters, and then those graphs and tables. So clicking into the graphs and tables, there's a couple options there. So you can look at data on, you can have pre-designed reports where maybe we want to look at specific country data. So data on land or population or the different capitals of the world. Take a look at this different capitals of the world, and here we have a list of those from the pre-designed country report. There's the extremes report, which is down at the bottom, which is a good way to look at the biggest and the smallest. So here we're looking at the largest in population, and we also have the smallest in population at a snapshot, and then some additional population statistics down here at the bottom as kind of a bonus. And you can build your own graphs and tables. So let's take a table. The graphs are bar graphs, but I'm going to take a table and just build one real quickly here by choosing nations or regions. So let's go ahead and select Afghanistan. I'm going to choose Argentina mainly because I don't want to scroll a lot during this session. And then let's compare that to the United States. And then I can select my categories. So let's choose area. Let's choose population. Let's see how many people live in cities versus rural areas. And let's just take electricity consumption, since we're interested in urban areas, and then just create the comparison table. And so here we have a comparison, which can be sorted of Afghanistan, Argentina, and the United States, or whatever countries are of interest. And we can see the differences, United States being at the top here as far as numbers go, but as far as urban, Afghanistan, very rural, Argentina, even more so, but US very much city dwellers, and how the electricity consumption is distributed. So let's go back to CultureGrams, and there's also, whoops, let's go into Kids Edition again. And then across the top, whether you're in a specific country or not, you'll always see these options to access some of those key features, like photos, slideshows, videos, interviews, the famous people recipe flags, and then again, the graphs and tables can be accessed from here as well. And this covers worldwide. So taking a look here, example of photo galleries, you can really learn a lot from the photo galleries. If I go into Afghanistan, maybe I'm interested in Botswana, and going into Botswana, I can see the wildlife in the desert there. I can see the more on the wildlife. I can see how they travel by donkey cart, by canoe. This one I discovered today on the worms, which are actually fried tree worms, which I hadn't seen this one before, but they're considered a delicacy. So this is two young girls selling worms in a market in Botswana. So a lot of interesting things within this. And I do want to pop in and show interviews, because the point I want to make here is these are done alphabetically, but they also cover both male and female, and a wide range of ages. So here we have someone who's age 7 who's interviewed, and you can hear that. And these are in English. Someone who's maybe 13, someone who's 18, someone who's older. So there is that option as well. I do want to jump in real quick and show you just States Edition, so you can see how that's similar but a little bit different, since it's dealing with the individual states. So here we have the United States. If I pop into South Carolina, it's similar, where you have these different aspects over on the left, and you have some fun facts here in the middle. The flag, the motto, the map, etc. So, oh, and these also, you can translate these, and you can also do the text to speech on these. So I know this is a lot of information. It's a world of information. I mean, there's just a whole lot in here. But I want to leave you with some resources, because there are some additional resources left, and we just can't cover everything today. So let me pop back in, and we'll take a look at some of the resources. So there's a couple of other activities you may want to try. There's a cultural diversity activity, and we also have scavenger hunts. The scavenger hunts are designed for um, K through 5. They're for Kids Edition, World Edition, and then there's a State and Provinces Edition. I am going to pop those into the chat in just a second, so you'll have the links to those if you're interested in getting to those. So just an example of a cultural diversity lesson that we've developed, where it asks questions as you explore a particular uh, countries or state. It kind of guides you through exploring that country. and then the scavenger hunts, which are also available on our LibGuide, which I'll talk about in just a second, which are sort of handouts where the student can go through these questions, or these can serve as a guide for you to develop questions. And they also give little tips for where to find this type of information. So here's what are the 5 largest and 5 smallest countries in the world. You can do that using the extremes data table or build your own. What's tree is the national symbol of Haiti, and various. How do you say certain things in different countries? Um, so yeah, so there are those 2 additional activity sources. There is the CultureGrams LibGuide. There is, if you're interested in training, please reach out to us at training@proquest.com. Or if you have technical issues, you can go to support@proquest.com. Let me pop in those links into the chat real quickly so you have them. And I will also send this out in a, didn't copy there. Okay. Okay, so that should be in there now. We will have a few minutes for questions, but I also wanted to talk to you about, yeah, so I know that was quick. It's a lot of information, but you should now be able to describe how CultureGrams is used to support global awareness, to demonstrate the use of features and tools, to analyze country data using tables and graphs, as well as those infographics, and also to locate and use age-appropriate teaching activities. So with that, let me check the chat, and feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like, and let's see if there are any questions. Okay. All right, I am not seeing any questions at this point. I'll stay on for a few minutes for questions. And you can always get in contact with me at that training@proquest.com email. I also want to share some avenues of feedback for you. So there is a Discus survey that you can use to report feedback for the session. We are, and I'll put that in the chat, we are also seeking input right now on design prototypes for a future look for CultureGrams. And so what we're looking for, and this is the product manager of CultureGrams at ProQuest who's heading this up, and he's looking for a few folks who are very familiar with the current version of CultureGrams and how students use it, and is looking for input on these prototypes, and that would consist of maybe a 20-minute interview on Teams or Zoom, depending on your schedule. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to drop that in the chat as well. And I hate to overwhelm you, but there's also another another survey that comes automatically from WebEx, and that's just that'll pop up after the session, and you can. That's a very short one, just like the Discus survey. This one is, happy face, not a happy face. Hopefully, it's a happy face, and then you can share if you have anything that you found useful or you are interested in seeing in the future for that. So give me just a second to drop those into the chat. I will check to see if there are any other questions. And here comes the links for that. Hold on. Okay. Okay, links to that. We are at time. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you do need to drop off, it looks like we have a comment or two. And I'm going to check one more time for questions, but otherwise I really appreciate you joining today. And please do let me know if you have any, if you think of any questions later. Okay, and I'm going to send the links by email as well. Hold on one second. Let me get this to everyone. And again, thank you everyone for joining today. And have a very nice rest of your day. Oh, and for those who may have read there's another session coming on November 9th, so in 2 weeks, and that is focused on high school educators. It is very similar to this one, but more of a focus on activities that would be more pertinent to that age group or that skill level, and that'll be focused more on the World Edition. Oh, I'm doing it. And I'm actually seeing that the links to the scavenger hunts and the cultural diversity activity weren't distributed to everyone. So let me get those out here as well. And I will send those in my follow-up email, Patricia.